Hi folks, Ricky Tang here, and I'm out this morning thanks to Completely Motorbikes in Staverton in Gloucester, or just on the outskirts of Gloucester. I am riding a 2022 Yamaha XSR700. Haven't ridden one of these before. I have ridden bikes with the same platform, the parallel twin 683cc. It's used in the MT-07, Tracer 700 and T7 Tenere. The styling of the bike is somewhat polarizing, but basically I'm a fan of this resto mod stroke classic modern styling. I'll give you a brief walk around a little later on. It will be brief because I haven't got long, so this is more of a first impressions ride. What is somewhat surprising, I wasn't quite expecting this, is the bike's quite stiffly sprung. Not in a bad way, it's just firmer than I was expecting. We have, what's a bit unusual for me anyway, you might not be able to see it with this camera I've got on my jacket, is that you've got a little kind of up and down rocker switch, which looks like a light switch, like between main and dip. But this one I've got my fingers on here, that actually cycles through the trip computer settings on the dash. So there's trip and info legends on the switchgear itself. Not much switchgear on the right hand side. I can see there's a hazard switch on the right hand switchgear, along with the run and stop buttons. Indicator switch has a nice throw to it, easy to get to. Horn is easy to see and reach. And we have a main and dip switch for the light. No on-off switch for the light, so I think it's on all the time. And there's a pass switch on the left-hand side. Actually, I quite like the dash. It is rather small. It's certainly clear with this white on black LCD segmented display. Good looking thing, I think. Now, I haven't ridden the MT-07 yet, but spec for spec, they're rather similar machines in terms of engine, chassis. However, this bike has higher handlebars and it actually has a higher seat height, but I think somewhere around 10 to 15 millimeters. And combined with the rather firm suspension, you do sit quite high. However, with my 32-inch inside leg, I am almost flat-footing it. The only thing that's kind of stopping that are the foot pegs just getting away of my legs slightly. So yeah, it's actually a bit narrow at the front of the seat. The whole bike is fairly narrow at the front of the seat. I don't think there's any big problems getting your feet down. I'll just take this bike around a couple of random back lanes. Yeah, this feels actually quite sporty. The engine pulls nicely. Yeah, this is spot on. This handling here is actually really impressive if you like a firmly suspended bike. One thing that surprises me slightly, it's got Michelin Road 5 2CT Plus tyres, which I take to be kind of quite high spec tyres. I don't think you'll have any big grip problems with these tyres. One thing we're missing here, I think, off the dash is a clock. Would be nice. Tell you what I'll do. I'll just park here and have a little look at the bike. Here we are with a little look at the XSR700. Got a white and blue model, which is a little bit reminiscent of the old Yamaha RD range of bikes. Good looking colour scheme that. I know you can get, actually I think for the MT-09 you can get body kits that make the bike look a little bit more like an old RD350. And I think if I was to own one of these, yeah, I might see if I could look into kind of a big headlamp fairing that made it look a little bit like the old LC models. 74 horsepower at the crank, I believe. Other specs are bang on to the screen. Twin discs with conventional mounted or axially mounted brake calipers. Single piston caliper, I think, at the back. The shock I can just see there. I can see we got preload adjustment. I'm not sure if we got anything else other than preload. I think that might be a lot. Front forks are unadjustable as far as I can see. So nothing much to play with on that score. And like I said, riding it, the suspension does feel, oh, that backlight's nice. It's actually switched on at the moment, so that looks good. So the suspension of the ride is actually on the firm side, quite sporty. If your road quality locally was really bad, then this bike might be a little bit uncomfortable on those sorts of roads. Nice performance for what I've sampled so far. However, the bike hasn't got many miles on the clock, so I can't really take the mickey and send it too high up the rev range. What's the lights like at the front? There we go. That's low beam. Let's get the high beam on. Decent LED indicators as well. So fairly well appointed. LED lights, LED indicators. And like I said, Michelin Road 5s. 180/55 ZR17 on the back, 120/70 ZR17 on the front. Sticky tyres, I'd say. So that bodes well for backroad fun. Now in terms of fit and finish, let's have a little close-up look. Cables look nicely wrapped. Lots of little cable ties and bracketry to hold everything in place. Yeah. All looks pretty high quality, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of it is on show. So it looks like they have put the work into it to make it good looking at the same time. To me, that's standing up pretty well to close scrutiny, I would say. No radiator guard as standard. Yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with the way everything seems to be tied up and tucked away, apart from perhaps these there, but at least they're not wobbly. So no big glaring issues with the look of the bike. Fairly close up. If you see anything I can't see, drop me a line. There's the reg rec on the outside there, getting lots of airflow. Yeah, the only slight flying ointment is just the way the main cable comes down over the top yoke here. I mean, it's got to come down somewhere, but yeah, it just would have been nice if it was a little bit less obvious, but it's not a biggie. Clocks here. They might be flickering on the display, but they're not flickering in real life. Gear indicator at the top, speed, fuel, trip computer in the middle there, or just below the middle. All you really need, apart from a clock would be nice. There's our switchgear. So that's your switch to cycle through the computer options on the dash. Oh, there's a clock. There is a clock. Brilliant. So yeah, forget me talking rubbish. Well, isn't that nice? I'm glad to see that. So yeah, bike's just got a little bit better in my eyes. Oh yeah, levers, unadjustable clutch, apart from the cable adjustment, span adjustable on the brakes, which is nice. Better get back on the bike. See you in a mo. Bit of a crosswind here, so a bit of an unfair place to kind of comment on wind. I'm doing 55 on the clock. No uncomfortable buffeting, decent enough at this speed. And fifth gear, oh, where am I? Just over 4,000 RPM. Decent amount of response from the engine as well. I'm just slowing down, just have a little on-off throttle test. Now, when you just roll on in first gear, so it's a bit bright, so I'm going to have to bring down the old visor. When you're at slow speeds, like 10 miles an hour or less perhaps, when you roll on the throttle, there is a bit of a jump. Actually now I've gone to 20, still first gear. Just as you roll on the throttle, it kind of, the power comes in a bit like a switch. It's not very smooth. If you take your time with the throttle and kind of twist slowly, it comes on reasonably smoothly. But if you're a little bit more immediate with the throttle, and the power comes in first gear with a bit of a jerk. And what I'm finding there, especially for new riders, keep both hands on the bars, because if you're, as a new rider or an inexperienced rider, if you come off one hand on the bar and then accidentally start to give the throttle a bit of a twist, you will accelerate quite quickly and potentially you might veer off course. Obviously you should have both hands on the bars at all times, but you know, you're opening and closing your visor, you're checking that your zips are shut in your jacket. It's not possible to have both hands on the bars 100% of the time. I like the riding position very much. It's definitely very upright. There's a very slight lean forward to the bars, but that might just depend on your body shape and size. I'm 5'7", or 170 centimeters. The seat has a reasonable amount of room back and forth, but as you go back, the seat rises before it reaches the pillion seat. So if you sit back a bit, then you are sitting a bit higher as well. It does sound nice when you give the bike a rev. I know I'm not a child, but I do ride like one now and again. The clutch action is nice. It's not too grabby on the get-go when you kind of leave a set of lights or leave a junction. I like the way it lets the power in. Gear change is nice and snickety. There's a good action to the gear shift, feels mechanical. Not too strong. It's not going to make your feet ache. It does feel like you're operating a nice piece of machinery. But yeah, so I like it. It's a fun machine, and I certainly would take it out for a second date if I had the chance. It looks well built. I had a little close-up look earlier on. Stylish machine in my eyes anyway. Decent handling from what little I've sampled so far. I know the engine's pretty sweet as well. So as long as you don't mind, you know, naked bikes, I think this is a very good option in the middleweight area of the market. But we're nearly back at Completely Motorbikes now. So thanks for hanging out with me on this ride. I'll see you down in the comments. So until the next video folks, take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon.